One of the biggest reasons why we would want to make our gear lighter is to ease the stress hiking puts on our body. Being in pain or discomfort is not fun, and we all know hiking loves to bring out those aches and pains. So not only can a lighter pack ease some of that discomfort, but you also have the potential to cover longer distances, go on more adventurous trips, or just enjoy yourself more. So here are some of my top tips if you are thinking about reducing the weight of your pack. Number 1, weigh everything. Of course, you can't actually reduce the weight of your pack without knowing its weight, so this is the perfect starting point to get a gauge on where you are at. So get out a pen and paper or a spreadsheet and literally weigh every item and record its weight. This is a great way to see what can be improved on, or perhaps see some gear that you didn't realize was taking up so much weight. A fun little website that you can also use is called Lighter Pack. So you can type everything in, create categories, see a pie chart version, and you can choose to include or exclude consumables or worn items in the overall weight. Number 2, omit unnecessary items. In other words, carry less things. Now this does not mean compromising on your safety. Don't do away with your rain jacket or your first aid kit, but rather have a think about some of the items in your pack that might be considered a luxury item. This can be anything from a sit pad, a book, a pillow, but what others see as being a luxury, you might see as being necessary. I take 2 cameras with me when I'm hiking. Someone might see that as being a luxury item, but for me, a camera is non-negotiable. So you are the only person who can ask yourself what items might be worth getting rid of completely. A helpful way to do this is go on a hike, and when you come home, take a closer look at the gear that you did not use at all. Sometimes you have to get rid of that just in case mentality. Some of the items that I've removed from my pack over the years has been a bowl and a fork, because now I just eat out of my cooking pot, and I take a spoon instead of a fork and a spoon. I used to also bring with me a little carabiner watch. It was really cool, it glowed in the dark, but it was quite heavy, so I considered it being unnecessary. Number 3, think miniaturized. To me, this is one of the funnest ways to reduce the weight of your pack. What you're going to do is go through all of your gear, particularly your toiletries and your first aid kit, and see if there is anything that can be made smaller. Now you might be thinking, Hayley, I've already got my 40-gram tube of toothpaste that's a mini version of my regular toothpaste. Well, they make even smaller tubes that are perfect for a 3-day hike. I've also done things like change the packaging of my lip balm, tiger balm, and antiseptic ointment from the one it came in to these little jars. I've also wrapped my strapping tape and duct tape around a straw, because obviously you don't need to take a whole roll with you on a trip. You might only be saving a few grams for each item that you do this to, but the grams do add up. There are hikers out there that will cut the handle off their toothbrush. So if you want to get serious about reducing the weight of your pack, don't ignore the little things. Number 4, share your gear. Now this only works if you have hiking buddies to go with, but sharing specific items of gear between you is a great way to save on weight. This might mean sharing a tent, sharing a stove, or sharing a personal locator beacon. Number 5, use multi-purpose gear. This means thinking about individual pieces of gear that can be used for more than one purpose. For example, my trekking poles are also my tent poles, so I don't carry tent poles at all. My sleeping mat is also my sit pad, so I don't need to carry a sit pad. Other examples might include using your jacket as a pillow, or using a buff as a towel, or even an initial water filter. Number 6, limit your clothing. If you are hiking, you are probably going to sweat a lot, be dirty and be smelly, so why not embrace it? You don't need to bring a spare hiking shirt. You can hike in the exact same shirt and shorts for the duration of the trip, and no one will bat an eyelid. You can also think about how many pairs of socks you need. 2 to 3 is normally enough. 1 pair to hike in, 1 pair for when you reach camp, and maybe a 3rd pair as a spare. So your clothing is a whole nother category that you can pay attention to when you're looking at reducing your weight. Number 7, replace your gear. This part usually requires money. There's a little bit of hiker lingo called the big 3. And this refers to your pack, your shelter, and your sleeping bag, because they are usually the 3 items that will have the most significant weight. So So if you are trying to reduce the weight of your pack, aiming for one or all of the big three is going to help you a lot. Now unfortunately in Australia and New Zealand we are a little less progressive when it comes to ultralight hiking gear, which means you're going to have to do your research online instead of just rocking up to your local Anaconda store. But there are definitely some great cottage companies starting to pop up who are making it easier for us to access lighter gear instead of spending half your money on shipping from America. When I upgraded my tent, my sleeping bag and my pack, I shaved off 1.3 kilos. I still have room for improvement one day when I have more money again, but those upgrades suited me at the time and they've made a big difference. So take a look at some of your gear and see what you can replace for lighter gear, because gear is always improving. Number 8, ditch the robust hiking boots. There is a little misconception that the more durable and robust the hiking boot, the better. But wearing heavier boots will fatigue your feet and legs faster than if you were wearing lighter boots. There are numerous studies done on how the weight of a boot relates to energy expenditure. Trail runners are something to look into, especially if you're going for multiple days, or perhaps just change your boots to a lighter pair. Number 9, carry less water. Now I put this down as a tip, except personally I am pretty notorious for not following this. The idea is that you are to try and be aware of what water sources are about on the track, so you only carry the water that you think you might need until you reach the next water source. When people do this, they normally carry about 1 litre of water. Once you are at the water source, you have a big drink and then you fill up again of what you think you might need. I am someone who loves to hike in summer, and of course being in Australia, there is never any guarantee that the water tanks or creeks will have water in them. So I will usually start my day out carrying 2 to 3 litres of water because I'm not game enough to risk it, especially if I'm hiking by myself. But if you are game, 1 litre weighs 1 kilo, so it's a great way to shave off some weight. So I hope you have some fun with your never-ending journey of reducing the weight of your pack. If you've got some tips of your own that you want to share, write them in the comments below. So as always, thank you for watching and I will see you in the next one.